everyone and welcome to another Time Sausages gaming video. Now this one isn't going to be about gameplay, it's going to be about a rather large leak, what I just read on Reddit. And I thought I'd just share the information with you because I think it's rather juicy and very, very interesting. But like I say, it's a leak on 4chan. It could all be complete rubbish, but I think it's really worth reading because, well, it's interesting, isn't it? So I'll just read directly from the screen grab and then fill in with you what I think they're all jabbering on about. Sound good? Okay, here we go. And if you want to read it yourself, I'll pop the link in the description below so you can zip on over and have a look at Reddit. The post first says, a few aspects of the previous leaks are correct, albeit slightly outdated. Europa and the area previously described as Finality are still in development. So Europa, of course, is one of the moons, the icy moon that we're all looking forward to getting. And Finality is where the raid is going to take place, by all accounts. So we don't really know much more about that, really, as whether it's a ship or a dimension or a place, we don't really know. The darkness subclasses, however, have been dropped in favour of fine-tuning currently existing subclasses. And by this, I mean there we will be providing further options in how you play your Guardian. If that's true, that's a bit of a disappointment. I wanted another subclass, really. But when you think about it, Void kind of covers darkness, doesn't it, really? I've always thought of Void as dark magic of you rather than arc or solar. But there you go, hey ho, there we go. And we're going to get more options in how you play your Guardian. Now that could mean anything. Very, very, very interesting. They carry on by saying the previously mentioned Winnower is not the physical incarnation of the darkness, but rather it's an agent comparable to that of the emissary in terms of their roles. You know, the emissary from Season of the Drifter, where you had those weekly little story snippets about the Drifter's life. I don't know whether that's practical, I don't know. But then again, you see, the Winnower could have been the thing that we spoke to at the end of Shadowkeep. Could well be. And that was like an emissary, I suppose. The Winnower will be the final boss for the raid, the name of which is still currently being debated. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people believe that this leak isn't genuine, is because you can't have the Winnower as a final boss in a raid, because the Winnower is basically the creator of everything, or was present at the creation of the universe, so it's impossible to kill. But just because you can't kill it, it doesn't mean you can't defeat it. There might be a way to kind of get the better of it at the end of the raid, not necessarily being able to kill it if you can't. So, you know, you can always write your way around that one and make both camps happy. The raid will actually start in Unknown Space. Unknown Space, as you know, is where we do the reckoning and stuff like that, before concluding in Finality, which of course is the extra bit of bubbins that's going to be coming along with the expansion. If any of this is to be believed, I do think I believe it. I'm sorry, I want to believe it. More news, please. Okay, more stuff. Once the first fire team completes the raid, Finality will unlock for all players to explore. Currently there are 4 encounters in the raid, one of which will be a non-boss encounter like the Vault in The Last Wish, and within this encounter a new raid mechanic called Exsanguinated, that kind of means to be taken out of blood, doesn't it, will be introduced. This mechanic will also be prevalent in the final boss encounter. So this is kind of like Forsaken when they completed the raid. Oh, it's been so long. They completed the raid and the curse descended on the Dreaming City, which is still with us to this very day. That was great. Aside from the new story and raid, 4 new strikes are also being launched. Ooh! There will be a strike on each of the new destinations, as well as Titan and the EDZ. So Titan's going to survive. There are no updates to Gambit or Crucible, aside from sandbox changes for the latter. So we're going to have sandbox changes for the Crucible, which is part and parcel of a massive update anyway. And there will be a mix of new and returning exotics. A new exotic called Final Shape will be released. Dragon's Breath will return. There's been a lot of talk about the Dragon's Breath coming back. And Final Shape, Lord knows what that could be. Oh, hang on. It said it's an exotic sword called Final Shape. Well, that's very interesting. But you do have to question whether or not this is a genuine leak at this point, because the Dragon's Breath has been kind of known about for ages, and Final Shape as an exotic sword, well, I mean, who knows? It could be. I don't know. It's difficult to say, but I do find it very interesting. They carry on. As stated before, Callus, Mara Sov, and Eris Morn are major characters within the expansion. We've heard all this before, but Callus will reveal his true colours. Well, I thought he was a complete swine anyway, so, you know, he can't be any worse, can he, surely? Is he in tandem with the darkness? Because if you read some of the lore, he went and saw the darkness, and it went inside him and changed him, and he came back and he was a bit of a loony. So maybe he's got cahoots with them. Could be. Anyway, sorry. Mara Sov will provide the introductory quest for players. So Mara's coming back. That's nice. She's been out of it for a while. She's a key player. It's nice to feel like we're getting back on track with the main kind of story. The idea of Mara being one of the main drivers behind the next part of the story is very, very believable too. So whether or not that's something that they know specifically, or it's just something that they're following on from the lore, I leave up to you. Yes. And it says, during this, she'll reveal her plans on how to stop the darkness. Excellent. Eris will once again act as a guide to the player, be their voice of reason. And the Drifter is also planned to be a major character, with the results of the Allegiance quest taking full weight. That's something else to take with a pinch of salt, really, because it was a small part of the quest, and all it really resulted in was you having different bits of dialogue whenever you played Gambit. I don't know whether or not it's going to be an integral part of the story going forward, because it's going to split the player base in a very oddly unmanageable way. So I don't know about that. That doesn't sound correct to me. Okay, they carry on to talk about the Veil, and they say the Veil, as stated before, will be the next enemy race. As it stands, there are 6 units within their ranks, but there are currently no solid names for any of these units, and their in-development names relate to chest pieces, which is very interesting. Although, wouldn't they already have names for all the units at this point? I don't know how easy it is to swap that in or out. Maybe that's one change that could be made at the base level that ripples through the entire game, as it is just a name change, I suppose. But it leaves a lot of questions, really, as to whether or not this is true. Their elemental shields will be Arc and Void. See, Void. There you go, Void. Okay, continuing on. Collapse was initially intended to be revealed during E3 2020. However, due to the coronavirus pandemic-y plague type thing that's kicking us all in at the moment, that plan was scrapped. Because of said pandemic, development for Collapse has slowed down, but it is still going on, and we still expect to release the expansion somewhere in the fall. That's autumn to everyone else. But I can't guarantee a September release. Well, that's to be expected, really. If they're all working from home, it must be very difficult, because they've all got to share builds and use the internet connections, which, you know, will be slow, and then when they want to download builds or work on particular parts, they're going to be incredibly limited by their at-home internet connection speeds, which must be very difficult. The Collapse will still be revealed this summer, with a current plan to drop the teaser trailer on June the 8th, and a full cinematic trailer on July the 6th. Ooh, so some dates have been dropped there. Could be really interesting. They might be dropping dates because they know these dates to be true, and if these dates pass and nothing happens, we know they've all been full of it. Fascinating stuff. Although they do tend to drop trailers about this time anyway, and if they were going to have stuff in E3, makes sense. Initially, we intended to invite major Destiny content creators, that's not me, to the studio to play the first mission of Collapse, as well as try out some of the exotics, but unfortunately we can't do that because of the old coronavirus, which is fair enough. I hope this provides further insight into what we have planned. So the supposed leaker's finishing off the post by basically saying, I work at Bungie. So, you know, interesting, could be true, probably isn't, could be, probably, could be, who knows? But some of the things that they're saying are, well, they ring true, don't they? He says, I made this post in order to ease some tension off the player base. Everyone in Bungie is fully aware of players' frustration with the current state of the game. As developers and players, we completely agree. While all of this wasn't intended to be talked about until the summer, I felt it was necessary that players knew what we were cooking behind the curtain. Stay safe, Guardians, and see you this fall. So there you go. I thought that was worth bringing to your attention, me lovely sausages, because it's very, very interesting. Now, I know there's so many leaks, they all drop now and again. This has actually been pulled from Reddit while they attempt to ascertain its validity, but nonetheless, there have been so many leaks lately that I thought I'd just make a video about them, and I just used this recent one as a way to talk about what's going on. Now, I know Season of the Worthy hasn't been everyone's cup of tea, and it's been a little bit thin on the ground, but you know, it's been a mild distraction so far. But I think there's a reason why it's been so sparse, and that's because they're working their cotton socks off to try and get a release to us this autumn, or fall as it's known in various other countries. But if there's one thing I'm taking away from all these supposed leaks, is that there is a big change coming. They have to do a big change to make the game evolve into its next incarnation, which will probably save the game yet again, in the same way that Forsaken saved the game, and in the same way that the Taken King saved the game. Oh no, hang on, it's just a normal game cycle, and everybody just goes off their blocks for no reason at all, when there's dips, and then there's peaks, and then there's dips, and then there's peaks, and that's it. That's life, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it works. So if I was you, I'd just enjoy the ride, because it's a great ride. Anyway, that's what I think about it. Let me know in the comments what you think, because this is all very interesting, isn't it? Anyway, thank you so much for listening, Guardians, and I'll speak to you again very soon.